The evening sky burned like a furnace. Thick smoke rolled across the city as if the world itself was on fire. Buildings stood like broken teeth against the red horizon. Distant sirens screamed in fear, and in the middle of it all, she ran. A small alien girl, no older than 8, her silver hair tangled, her eyes glowing faint blue in the fading light. Her tiny hands clutched a crystal that pulsed softly like a heartbeat. She didn't stop. She couldn't stop. Behind her, drones circled like vultures. Their engines buzzed in the air, searching, scanning, killing. One drone locked onto her. A red light blinked on its front. Target acquired. The girl's legs gave out for a second. She stumbled on the cracked road, gasping. The crystal almost slipped from her hands. The drone tilted, ready to fire. And that's when he saw her, the human soldier. He had been guiding civilians toward the shelters when his eyes caught the small figure. Through dust and chaos, through the noise of guns and screams, he saw her standing alone. The red light from the drone pointed right at her. He didn't even think. "Hey, run!" he shouted, his voice breaking through the roar of war. But she didn't move. She stood frozen, staring at the red light like a cornered animal facing death. The soldier's boots pounded the broken ground as he ran. His armor was heavy, scratched from earlier fights, but he pushed harder. The missile was seconds away. He dived forward. The explosion hit before he even touched the ground. Light swallowed the world. A wave of heat tore through the street. The sound was deafening, metal, fire, air itself ripping apart. He felt it all. The burning shrapnel slamming into his back, his arms, his side. Pain flared hot and sharp. The ground cracked beneath them. He had wrapped himself around her, shielding her small body. The blast threw them both into the dirt. For a moment, there was nothing. No sound. No movement. Just smoke rising where buildings once stood. The soldier tried to breathe. The air burned in his lungs. He tasted dust and blood. His ears rang like church bells. The girl shifted under his arms, trembling but alive. Her crystal still glowed faintly, untouched by the flames. He tried to speak but only coughed, his throat dry. Footsteps approached fast. Other human soldiers. "Medic! We need a medic now!" someone yelled. The soldier didn't hear the rest. His vision blurred. Shapes moved through the smoke like shadows. The girl crawled out from under him. Her big blue eyes stared at him with something he didn't understand. Fear? Gratitude? Maybe both. He wanted to tell her she was safe now, that she could run, that he'd be fine. But then he saw it, his blood. It ran from a deep cut on his arm, glowing faintly blue under the dust. What was happening to him? Before he could think, the shadows became clearer. Not human. Tall figures in black armor stepped out of the smoke. Their movements were silent, too smooth, too controlled. Strange symbols glowed on their chests. Their helmets were shaped like sharp wings, hiding their faces. One of them knelt near the girl. He spoke in a language the soldier didn't know. The words echoed strangely in his mind, as if he somehow understood. "Daughter of the crown, you are safe," the voice said softly. The girl nodded weakly. Another figure looked at the soldier. Through the dark visor, 2 golden eyes glowed faintly. "He bleeds for you," the figure said. "The sign is real." The soldier wanted to ask what they meant. He wanted to ask who they were, why his blood glowed, why they looked at him like he was something important. But his body felt heavy. His strength drained away like water in sand. The girl touched his shoulder. Her small hand was warm against his cold armor. "He saved me," she whispered to the tall figures. "Please, don't let him die." The figures exchanged glances, silent, unreadable. The soldier tried to stay awake, but the world was tilting, spinning. Darkness crept into the edges of his vision. The last thing he saw before it all faded was the tallest figure lifting him effortlessly, like he weighed nothing. And the girl, clutching her crystal, staring at him with eyes that glowed brighter now, like she knew something he didn't, something big. Then the darkness swallowed him whole. The human soldier woke to silence. No explosions, no gunfire, No smoke-filled air burning his lungs. Only a strange low hum, like a heartbeat hidden inside the walls. His eyes opened slowly. The ceiling above him was not human. It curved like smooth metal, glowing faint blue lines running across it. Symbols he couldn't read floated on thin panels of light near the walls. He sat up quickly, but his body screamed in protest. His back, his arms, every part hurt. Yet, when he touched his side, the wounds were gone. Not a single cut remained. What happened to him? He was lying on a flat bed made of something like glass, but warm to the touch. Around the room were strange objects, glowing softly, alive but not alive. He could feel energy in the air, like the place itself was breathing. Then he saw her, the alien girl. She sat in the corner of the room, her small hands holding the same glowing crystal close to her chest. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders like moonlight, and her blue eyes were locked on him. "You woke up," she said softly. Her voice trembled as if she wasn't sure he would. He tried to speak, but his throat felt dry. Where are we?" She looked at the walls, then back at him. "Safe. For now." "Safe? From what?" Before he could ask, the door behind her slid open with a hiss. Figures entered. Tall, armored. The same ones he had seen before falling unconscious. Their black suits reflected the blue lights, the strange symbols on their chests glowing faintly. Their helmets covered their faces, but their presence filled the room with power. One of them stepped forward. When he spoke, the words came in a language the soldier didn't know. But somehow he understood every one of them. "You carry the sign," the figure said in a deep voice. "The prophecy begins." The soldier frowned. "What prophecy? I'm just a soldier. I don't know anything about this." The figure tilted his head, almost studying him. "You bled for the daughter of the crown. That cannot be undone." "Daughter of the crown?" The human turned to the girl, confused. She looked down at the crystal in her hands but said nothing. Another figure spoke, his voice sharper, more urgent. "The enemy is coming. They will not stop. We must leave this world before they find her." The soldier stood, unsteady on his feet. "The enemy? You mean the drones? The ones attacking the city?" The tall figure nodded slowly. "Not just drones. A fleet. They know she lives. And now they know you do too." "Why me?" The soldier's voice was rough. "I was only trying to save her." The first figure stepped closer, towering over him. "That is why. You gave your life for her, and the crown accepts sacrifice. It has chosen you." The soldier didn't understand. Chosen him for what? Before he could speak, the entire room shook. A deep rumble rolled through the walls, followed by a long, echoing roar like thunder across metal skies. The tall figure snapped his head toward the door. "They've found us." The girl clutched the crystal tighter. Her eyes shone brighter now, almost glowing. The soldier felt something strange then. A faint warmth spreading through his veins, like his body wasn't fully his own anymore. Like the explosion had left something inside him that didn't belong to a normal man. The figures moved fast, their armor shifting as they prepared weapons. Long, spear-like blades made of light. The leader looked at the soldier. "You will come with us. Protect the child. Protect the crystal. Or the galaxy will fall." The soldier froze. Galaxy? Fall? He was just a man from Earth, a soldier trained to fight wars on dirt and stone, not stars and crowns. He didn't even know these people. But when he looked at the girl, shaking, clutching the glowing crystal as the walls trembled from the approaching enemy, he felt the same thing he felt back on that broken street. The need to protect her, no matter what. He nodded once. "Tell me what to do." The leader's golden eyes glowed through the helmet's visor. "Survive," he said simply, "until the prophecy reveals the rest." The floor shook again. A deep, mechanical roar echoed outside, like a monster waking from sleep. The girl whispered something then, almost too soft to hear. "They want the crystal," she said. "They want the weapon." "Weapon?" The soldier looked at her, then at the armored figures. No one spoke. The door burst open suddenly. A blast of red energy shot through the hallway beyond. Screams, metal and human, echoed in the distance. The leader raised his weapon. "They are here," he growled. "Get to the ship. Now." The girl ran to the soldier, gripping his hand with surprising strength. He had no idea where they were going. He had no idea what was happening. But as the walls shook again and shadows filled the doorway, he knew one thing. The war was only beginning. The soldier had never seen a ship like this before. It wasn't metal the way human ships were. Its walls seemed alive, pulsing faint blue like veins under skin. The floor hummed softly as if the whole vessel had a heartbeat of its own. He sat on a long bench near the center, his armor scorched, his mind spinning. The alien girl sat beside him, silent, clutching her glowing crystal like it was the only thing keeping her alive. Across from them, the tall, armored figures stood unmoving, their weapons ready, golden eyes watching the doors as the ship roared through the sky. Finally, the soldier spoke. His voice was rough, confused. "Someone tell me what's going on. Why is the enemy chasing her? What is this crystal?" No one answered at first. Only the low hum of the ship filled the air. Then the leader of the armored figures turned his head. His voice was deep, echoing under the helmet. "She is the last of the crown," he said. "The bloodline that once ruled the 9 worlds. That crystal she carries is the key of Alera, the map to the only weapon left that can stop the Empire." The soldier frowned. "Weapon? What weapon?" The leader's golden eyes glowed faintly through the visor. "Not a weapon built by hands. A weapon built by the stars themselves. Older than any empire, older than any race." The soldier tried to understand. "And they want it? They want to control it," the leader said darkly. "But it will only answer to one who carries royal blood, or one who bleeds for it." The soldier froze. He remembered the street, the explosion, his blood glowing faintly blue where it touched the ground. The leader looked right at him. "You carry the mark now. The key will answer you too." The soldier shook his head. "I didn't ask for this. I just saved her because it was the right thing to do." The leader nodded slowly. "That is why it chose you." The girl finally spoke then, her voice soft but steady. "The key is more than a map. It binds life to life. It saw what you did. It knows you will protect me." The soldier looked at her, at those glowing blue eyes far too old for someone so young. "Why me? I'm just a soldier. I fight wars. I'm no chosen hero." The girl held the crystal tighter. "Because heroes never think they are heroes." Silence fell. The soldier didn't know what to say. The ship shook suddenly as if something massive hit its side. Warning lights flashed along the walls. One of the armored figures turned sharply. "They've found us. 2 enemy ships behind us." The leader's voice stayed calm. "Outrun them." The pilot, hidden behind a wall of glowing symbols, pushed the ship faster. Stars streaked past the windows like silver rain. The girl moved closer to the soldier, fear in her eyes now. "They won't stop. They'll follow us across the galaxy." The soldier checked the rifle lying beside him. It wasn't even his, it was alien-made, with glowing lines along its barrel. He didn't know how it worked, but he held it tight anyway. Finally, he asked, "Where are we going?" The leader answered without turning. "To the dead world of Kaler. That is where the weapon sleeps." The soldier frowned. "And what happens when we get there?" The leader's golden eyes met his again. "Then we see if you are truly chosen." The ship shook again, harder this time. A deep roar echoed behind them. Through the window, the soldier saw 2 enemy ships, black and sharp like blades, closing fast. One of the armored figures spoke quickly. "If they reach us before Kaler, it won't matter who's chosen. We'll all be dead." The leader raised his weapon, calm even now. "Then we make sure they don't reach us." The soldier turned to the girl. "Is this weapon the only thing that can stop them?" She nodded slowly. "My family died protecting it. The Empire killed them all because they feared what it could do." The soldier's chest tightened. This wasn't just a war. This was something far bigger than he had ever imagined. The ship tilted sharply as the pilot dodged enemy fire. Bolts of red energy streaked past the windows. The girl whispered, clutching the crystal like it was her own heartbeat. If they take the key, the whole galaxy burns. The soldier looked at her, then at the approaching enemy ships. He didn't understand prophecies. He didn't understand royal bloodlines or ancient weapons. But he understood one thing. He couldn't let her fall into their hands. Not while he was still breathing. The ship roared toward the dead world as the enemy closed in behind them. And far below, hidden under Kaler's broken surface, something ancient waited for the key to return. Something that hadn't woken in 1,000 years. The stars became streaks of white as the alien ship cut through space at impossible speed. Inside, the air trembled with the sound of the engines pushing harder than they were built for. But no matter how fast they flew, the enemy ships stayed close behind. 2 black hunters, sharp like knives, their red lights glowing like eyes that refused to blink. The soldier sat near the girl, gripping the alien rifle tightly. He still didn't fully understand how it worked, but he knew one thing. If the enemy got inside, he would fight. The armored leader stood near the pilot, his golden eyes watching the enemy ships on a glowing screen. He spoke calmly, his deep voice steady even as the floor shook under their feet. They won't stop until they have the key, he said, or until they kill all of us. The soldier glanced at the girl. She held the crystal close to her chest, her small fingers trembling slightly. Her blue eyes stared out the window at the dark shapes closing in. The soldier spoke, his voice low but firm. You said they destroyed your family. Why do they want this weapon so badly? The girl looked at him, her voice soft but carrying a weight far too heavy for someone so young. Because it can destroy them. All of them. The weapon doesn't choose sides. It answers only to blood. And now to you. The soldier felt the words sink in. He hadn't asked for this. He hadn't wanted any of it. But now the fate of a galaxy seemed tied to his life. The ship jolted suddenly. Red energy bolts streaked past the windows, so close he could almost feel the heat through the walls. One of the armored soldiers barked, "Shields failing. We can't take many more hits." The leader's golden eyes flashed. "Then we fight back." He turned to the soldier. "Can you use that weapon?" The human checked the alien rifle in his hands. Its barrel pulsed faint blue, like it was alive, waiting for something. "I'll figure it out," he said grimly. The leader nodded once. "Good. Follow me." The door to the outer deck slid open with a hiss. A rush of cold air filled the hall as the leader and 2 armored warriors stepped out. The soldier followed, his boots pounding on the metal floor. The outer deck was chaos. Above them, the black hunters swooped close, firing red streams of energy. The sky lit up like a storm of fire. The leader raised his spear-like weapon. A beam of golden light shot out, striking one enemy ship's wing. The black hunter spun wildly, smoke trailing behind, but it steadied itself and came back around. The soldier lifted his alien rifle, aiming carefully. His finger tightened on the trigger. A flash of blue energy exploded from the barrel, faster than any bullet he had ever seen. It slammed into the second enemy ship, tearing a hole through its side. The soldier stared for a second. The weapon hadn't just shot. It had roared like thunder, alive in his hands. The leader's voice cut through the noise. "Good. Again." The soldier fired again and again, each shot bright and loud, forcing the enemy ships to swerve wide. But they kept coming, relentless, refusing to fall back. The girl's voice came through the ship's comms, soft but shaking. "We can't fight them forever. Kaler, how far is it?" The pilot answered sharply. "Minutes, if we survive that long." The soldier ducked as another blast rocked the deck, heat searing the air. He fired back, hitting the first black hunter in its engines. Flames erupted. The ship spun out of control, vanishing into the dark below. One left, but it was the bigger one. It swooped low, its massive guns glowing red. The soldier fired again, but the ship's shields flared, blocking the shots. The leader growled, "It won't let us reach Kaler alive." The soldier looked at him. "Then what do we do?" The leader's golden eyes met his. "We board it." The soldier blinked. "Board it? While it's flying?" The leader's mouth curved slightly, almost like a smile. Yes, while it's flying. Before the soldier could argue, the leader shouted an order. One of the armored warriors grabbed a heavy weapon from the wall, a launcher that hummed with raw energy. The girl's voice cried out again. "What are you doing?" The leader answered, "Ending this." The launcher fired. A long, glowing cable shot out, stabbing deep into the enemy ship's side. The cable snapped tight, locking the two ships together. The leader turned to the soldier. "You want to protect her? Then come." And without waiting, he leapt across the cable, flying through open space toward the enemy ship. The soldier stared for half a second, then followed. The wind roared in his ears, stars spinning above and below as he hit the enemy ship's metal hull with a hard clang. Blaster fire erupted immediately. The chase had just become a battle. The wind tore at his armor as the soldier clung to the enemy ship's hull. The stars spun behind him, the alien girl's ship growing smaller as distance stretched between them. The cable groaned under his weight, sparks flashing where it bit into the metal. The leader was already ahead, moving across the hull with impossible speed. The black armored warriors followed, their steps silent even in the chaos. The soldier gritted his teeth and kept moving. He wasn't a hero, he told himself. He wasn't chosen. He was just a man trying to survive one more day. But deep inside, he knew that wasn't true anymore, because the fate of the girl, and maybe the whole galaxy, now rested on him. Blaster fire lit up the night. Enemy soldiers poured out of the hatch, their armor sharp and jagged, their weapons glowing red. The leader's warriors met them in silence, blades of light flashing bright against the darkness. The soldier raised his alien rifle and fired. Blue energy roared from the barrel, striking one enemy square in the chest. The figure crumpled, smoke rising from the armor. The fight spread across the ship's back like wildfire. Sparks rained down as plasma bolts hissed through the air. The metal hull shook under their boots as the enemy pilot tried to shake them off. The soldier moved with the others, firing, ducking, pushing forward toward the hatch. Then it happened. The enemy ship shuddered, and the hatch burst open wider. A figure stepped out, taller than the rest, its armor black and gold, its face hidden behind a mask shaped like a skull. The leader of the enemy squad. The air felt heavier when he walked. He looked at the soldier, at the girl's crystal in the distance, and then at the leader of the black armored warriors. His voice was deep, almost like metal scraping stone. "The key does not belong to you. Give it to us, or none of you leave this sky alive." The leader of the girl's warriors stood silent for a moment, then raised his spear. "You will not touch the crown's heir. Not while I live." The enemy commander tilted his head. "Then you will die first." He moved fast, too fast for something his size. His blade clashed with the leader's spear, the sound ringing across the hull like thunder. Sparks flew as they fought, each strike shaking the metal beneath their feet. The soldier fired at the enemy soldiers trying to flank them, his shots cutting through armor and sending bodies crashing to the deck. But his eyes kept drifting back to the duel. The two leaders fought like living storms, each strike brighter, faster, louder. Then the enemy commander spoke between blows. "The key will open the Titan," he growled. "But it will obey no king, no empire, only the one who bleeds for it." The soldier froze. Those words again. Bleeds for it. The leader of the girl's warriors didn't answer. His strikes grew harder, faster, but the enemy commander blocked each one with brutal precision. The soldier realized something then. They were talking about him. The explosion, the glowing blood, the way the crystal had pulsed when he touched it. It wasn't just choosing him to protect her. It was binding him to something far bigger, something buried on Kaler. He didn't want it. He didn't understand it. But deep inside, he felt it calling to him, like the weapon itself was awake now, waiting for him to arrive. The fight on the hull reached its peak. The leader of the girl's warriors struck hard, his spear slamming through the enemy commander's guard. Sparks exploded. The masked figure staggered back. But before anyone could finish him, he threw a small device to the deck. It flashed bright white. The soldier barely had time to cover his eyes. When the light faded, the enemy commander was gone, vanished into the dark, his remaining soldiers with him. The battle was over. But not the war. The leader of the girls' warriors stood breathing hard, his golden eyes glowing in the darkness. He turned to the soldier. "Now you understand," he said. "They will follow us to Kalar because they fear what sleeps there. And because you, human, are the only one who can wake it." The soldier felt the weight of those words press down like a mountain. He didn't want to be the only one. But when he looked at the alien girl holding the crystal so tightly, her blue eyes full of trust, he knew he couldn't turn away. The leader gave the order to cut the cable. The enemy ship drifted, crippled but not destroyed, as their own vessel pulled them back inside. The soldier sat down heavily, his chest still pounding from the fight. The girl came to him holding the crystal. "It knows you now," she said softly. "The weapon will wake for you." He didn't answer, because far below, the dead world of Kalar waited. And somewhere under its broken surface, something was listening. The dead world of Kalar filled the windows like a ghost. Dark clouds swirled above broken mountains. No green, no rivers, no life, only dust and silence under a red sky. It looked like the grave of a planet that had forgotten the sun long ago. The ship descended through the storm, shaking as winds screamed across its metal hull. The soldier watched through the glass, his hands gripping the alien rifle tight. He didn't know what waited down there, but he felt it, like the air itself held its breath, waiting for them to arrive. The alien girl sat beside him, clutching the glowing crystal close. Its blue light pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. "It's here," she whispered. "I can feel it." The leader of the black-armored warriors stood near the door, silent, golden eyes fixed on the storm outside. One of his soldiers spoke softly. "Scanners show movement below. Enemy ships. They got here first." The leader didn't move. "Then we take it back." The ship landed hard on a stretch of cracked stone. Wind and dust tore across the landing site as the door slid open with a hiss. The soldier stepped out into the storm. The air was dry, heavy, filled with the taste of metal and old ash. Before them stretched a valley of jagged rocks. At its center rose a massive structure half buried in the earth. A temple or fortress, its walls black and smooth like glass. Strange symbols glowed faintly across its surface, older than any language the soldier had ever seen. "That's it," the girl said softly. "The weapon sleeps inside." The leader raised his spear. "Move fast. They will come." They crossed the valley, the wind howling around them. Then the sky lit up red. Enemy ships roared overhead, dropping soldiers in black armor onto the rocks. Energy bolts streaked through the air, striking the ground near the human and the girl. "Go!" the leader shouted. "Get her inside." The soldier grabbed the girl's arm and ran, the crystal's light flashing bright against the storm. The alien warriors formed a wall around them, blades of light clashing against the enemy's red weapons. The ground shook as they reached the black fortress. Its doors were massive, carved with strange symbols that pulsed faint blue when the girl touched them. The doors groaned and slid open. Inside was darkness. The soldier led the girl in, his rifle ready. The air felt thick, heavy, like the place had been waiting for centuries. As they moved deeper, the walls began to glow faintly with blue lines, lighting their path. The floor sloped downward into the heart of the planet itself. Finally, they reached a vast chamber. And there it was, the weapon. It wasn't a cannon. It wasn't a bomb. It was a giant. A massive figure made of black metal sat upon a throne carved into the rock itself. 10 stories tall, its head bowed, its arms resting on its knees. It looked almost human, but its chest held a core of blue crystal that pulsed faintly, like it was sleeping. The girl stepped forward slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. "The Titan of Kalar." The soldier stared up at it, his heart pounding. This thing wasn't built by any army. It felt older than the planet around it, like it had always been here, waiting. Behind them, the leader spoke. "The weapon of the 9 worlds. The Empire fears it because once it wakes, No fleet can stand against it. The girl turned to the soldier. It needs two things to wake: the royal blood and the one who bleeds for it. The soldier froze. He knew what that meant. His hand tightened around the rifle. And if I don't? The leader looked at him, golden eyes hard. Then the Empire wins, and every world burns. The enemy arrived before he could answer. The chamber filled with red light as black armored soldiers stormed inside, weapons blazing. Energy bolts slammed into the walls, burning holes into the stone. The leader's warriors met them with blades of light, the clash of metal and fire echoing through the massive hall. The soldier grabbed the girl, pulling her toward the Titan as the battle raged behind them. She climbed the steps to the giant's core. The crystal in her hands began to glow brighter, answering the one in the Titan's chest. "Hurry!" the leader shouted, fighting off 3 soldiers at once. The soldier joined her at the top, the crystal's light washing over them both. "Place your hand here," the girl said quickly, pointing to the Titan's chest where the crystal pulsed faintly. The soldier hesitated. Energy crackled through the air. The enemy shouted below. The leader's warriors fought like shadows of fire and steel. Then the soldier pressed his hand to the crystal. It burned like lightning. Blue light exploded through the chamber, racing across the Titan's body like veins waking after a long sleep. The giant began to move. His head lifted slowly. The enemy froze where they stood. The Titan's eyes opened, 2 suns of blazing blue. The ground shook as it rose from the throne, metal and stone cracking under its weight. The Empire soldiers backed away, their weapons trembling in their hands. The Titan of Kalar had awakened. The Titan moved like a mountain waking from a dream. Its head rose higher and higher until it almost touched the roof of the ancient chamber. Blue fire burned in its eyes, brighter than any sun. Dust and broken stones rained down as its massive arms pulled free from the throne where it had slept for centuries. The ground shook under its weight. The enemy soldiers stopped firing. They stood frozen, staring up at the giant in disbelief. Their red weapons looked like toys compared to the monster before them. The alien girl held the crystal close. Its light pulsed in time with the Titan's glowing core, as if the two were connected by one beating heart. The soldier stood beside her, hand still on the Titan's chest where his blood had sealed the bond. He felt it deep inside his bones now. This thing was alive. It wasn't just a machine. It had waited for this moment. For them. The leader of the alien warriors stepped forward, his golden eyes reflecting the blue light. "It has chosen," he said, voice steady. "The Titan of Kalar belongs to the one who bled for it." The soldier shook his head. "I don't know how to control this thing." The leader looked at him. "You don't control it. You guide it. It will fight for you because you fought for her." The girl touched his arm. "It listens to you now. Tell it to protect us." Before he could speak, the enemy commander appeared at the edge of the chamber, the same one with the skull-shaped mask. His army spread behind him like a black tide. His voice echoed through the hall, deep and cold. "Kill the girl. Take the key. Bring down the Titan." The soldier raised his alien rifle, but the enemy moved first. Red energy bolts filled the air. The leader's warriors rushed forward, blades of light flashing, blocking the shots. The room exploded into chaos. Shouts, metal clashing, weapons burning. But then the Titan moved. It raised one massive arm. Blue energy roared outward in a wave, slamming into the enemy soldiers. Their weapons shattered. Armor cracked. The red lights on their rifles went dark as if the power had been ripped out of them. The enemy commander staggered but did not fall. His mask turned toward the soldier, voice like thunder. "This isn't over, human. The Empire does not bow to ghosts." He charged forward, blade burning red. The soldier fired his rifle again and again, but the commander moved like smoke, dodging each shot, closing the distance. The leader of the alien warriors met him halfway. Their blades clashed with a sound like mountains breaking. Around them, the Titan stepped out of the chamber into the storm above. Enemy ships fired from the sky, red beams tearing through clouds. The Titan raised both arms. Blue fire shot upward, ripping through the enemy fleet. Ships exploded in the dark like falling stars. The ground shook with each step the Titan took. It crushed enemy soldiers beneath its feet like ants. But inside the chamber, the fight between the two leaders raged on. The soldier ran to protect the girl as stray blasts scorched the walls. She held the crystal high, its glow brighter now, as if feeding the Titan more strength with every pulse of light. The enemy commander struck hard, his red blade slashing across the leader's armor. Sparks flew. The golden-eyed warrior staggered but did not fall. The soldier fired again, hitting the commander's shoulder. The mask turned toward him slowly, those cold eyes locking on his face. "You!" the enemy commander growled. "The one it chose. I will cut you down first." He leapt forward like a shadow. The soldier raised his rifle, but the commander knocked it aside with one powerful strike. The soldier hit the ground hard, the wind knocked out of him. The commander raised his blade for the final blow, and the Titan moved. One massive hand crashed through the roof, blue energy crackling across its fingers. It slammed down between the commander and the soldier, the shockwave throwing the masked warrior backward. The enemy soldiers froze as the Titan leaned closer, its burning eyes locking on them like a god staring at insects. The commander staggered to his feet, rage in his voice. "This war isn't finished. The Empire will return. Stronger." He threw a small device to the floor. Smoke exploded, filling the air. When it cleared, he and the last of his soldiers were gone. The leader of the alien warriors lowered his blade slowly. The storm outside had gone silent. The enemy fleet was gone. Those not destroyed had fled into the dark. The Titan stood like a mountain over the battlefield, its eyes fading from blazing blue to a softer glow. The girl looked at the soldier. "It listens to you," she whispered. "It will always listen to you now." The soldier stared up at the giant, the weight of what had happened sinking in. He had come here to save one life. Now the galaxy looked to him like a shield against the Empire's wrath. The leader of the alien warriors stepped forward. "The Empire will return," he said grimly. "And next time, they will bring an army." The soldier looked at the Titan, then at the girl holding the crystal. "Then we'll be ready," he said quietly. Outside, the wind howled across the dead world of Kaler as the Titan of the Nine Worlds stood watch, waiting for the war yet to come.